A very good afternoon to all. Welcome to class 12th economics. The unit we had already started, economic reforms 1991. We have already studied that till 1990 we made planning, the government did planning, a lot of plans were made, and various policies related to agriculture, related to industrial policies, related to foreign trade were started. And after 1991, actually in the year 1991, there was a need to bring some reforms in the economy because our economy was facing a lot of problems. So there was a need to bring some reforms in the economy. So let us now talk about what all reforms were basically introduced in India in the year 1991. So we have already covered that the LPQ was transformed to LPG, right? The LPQ was transformed to LPG, which means the licensing system, the license Raj was abolished and the liberalization was done. Then the public sector undertakings, which were given the major role, was now privatized, which means now the privatization was also being done. And if we talk about quota, the quota or the restrictions which was imposed on the import trade were now reduced and globalization was turned on. So ultimately, when we are simply telling that liberalization, privatization and globalization entered in India in 1991, so I told you that in the liberalization, first of all, we will be explaining the industrial sector reforms. The liberalization under industrial sector, like industrial licensing was abolished. The production areas were de-reserved. Capital goods were given freedom to get imported. Price restrictions were withdrawn by the government. Then we did that liberalization in the financial or banking sector, where I told you that the role of RBI was changed. The role of RBI was changed from regulator to facilitator, because earlier RBI was having the complete role, the full power to control all the commercial banks. But now the commercial banks or financial institutions were given complete freedom to take all their independent decisions themselves. Then private sector banks were also given entry, that they could also enter in India, the private sector banks, right? After reforms. Then permission was given to start private banks in India, and FDI in the banking sector increased to 50%. All right. Okay. Then in the tax reforms also, tax reforms का यहाँ मतलब है what changes in the taxes were done under liberalization. As I told you that income tax rates have been reduced, because earlier there was a lot of income tax which people had to pay, but the tax rate was reduced, and it was reduced in a point that people will not do any tax evasion which they were doing earlier. Corporate tax, the tax which is levied on the income of the companies, was also reduced, so that people should do more investment and should open various companies. And latestly, we all know that GST has been introduced, which has replaced a lot of indirect taxes, because GST is only one and only indirect tax now in the nation which we have to follow, and which has reduced various taxes. Then tax structure has been made simple, right? Which means, as I told you, that slabs have been imposed कहाँ तक फ्री रहेगा टैक्स, यानी कि आपको नहीं पे करना, और कहाँ पे उसके बाद आपको कितना टैक्स पे करना है. Then foreign exchange reforms. In the foreign exchange also I told you that first time in the Indian history the value of the rupee was devalued. The value of the rupee was devalued. First time in the Indian history the value of the rupee was devalued. In this case what we did, we ultimately did one thing, that we reduced the value of our own currency ourselves, so that it will become, you know, cheaper as compared to the foreign currency. And definitely foreign people will invest more and more money in India. All right, okay, let's move further with privatization now. Let's talk about privatization today. Privatization. When we define privatization, we simply define it as, it refers to the disinvestment in the public sector. Please note this line. It refers to the disinvestment in the public sector. Disinvestment in the public sector का मतलब है कि whenever the public sector, whenever the government is disinvesting its money from the public sector. एक होता है investment, where we have invested some amount. But if I am withdrawing my investment, if I am withdrawing my investment, that is known as disinvestment. That is known as disinvestment. So ultimately, privatization refers to the disinvestment in the public sector. That means the government decided to sell the shares of PSUs to the private individuals. The aim was to improve efficiency in the industrial sector. See, I already told you earlier that during 1950 to 1990, the government made various policies to protect the industrial sector of India. Various policies were framed to protect the interest of industrial sector, but still our industries, our Indian industries or our public sector undertakings did not work well. Because these industries did not work well, as a result, government had no other option, because these industries were declared as sick units. Some of the government PSUs were declared as sick units. Sick units means whatever investment you are doing in these industries, in these undertakings of government, government is not going to, you know, get any profit from these industries at all. These are termed as sick units. So sick units का यहाँ पे simple मतलब है कि जितना मर्जी पैसा आप उसके अंदर लगा लो, गवर्नमेंट उसके अंदर जितना मर्जी पैसा लगा ले, but government was not in a position for getting any amount in return from these sick units. So government was not getting any amount in return. As a result, government thought to sell off these industries. Government ने इनको sell करने के लिए सोचा, right? And government disinvested. So whenever government disinvest its public sector undertaking, which means government sell the shares of its PSUs to private individual, because private individuals are having more money, they will be definitely investing more and more money in that PSU and will make it again efficient for working. That is known as privatization. I hope I'm clear with this. So privatization means giving more role to private sector as well as compared to the public sector undertaking. So in comparison to public sector undertaking, when the private sector is also given greater role, that is known as privatization, where government is selling its public sector undertaking to private individuals or to private entrepreneurs in return, and government is going to improve the efficiency level of the company or public sector undertaking. And you know, government, Toshit, government has already decided, yeah, government was again and again investing in these sick units, But after again and again investing in these sick units with the oldest technology or with the previous technology, government was not in a position to improve their efficiency. So there was a need to sell it to the private entrepreneur, so that the private entrepreneur will bring the new technology or will bring the updated technology, and in that case government will be in a position to improve the efficiency. And definitely these enterprises will get improved once the private entrepreneur is going to invest the efficient capital, or is going to invest with the latest technology, which government was not able to do due to lack of money or due to lack of resources. Okay, let's move on. Reasons for privatization. Why government selected to do privatization? What were the reasons behind privatization? You know, many of the PSUs became sick units. I already told you now. Sick units means those units which are in a position which are not actually giving any profit to the government. Instead, again and again, government is investing an amount in these units, but still getting nothing in return. So those units have been declared as sick units. They became a social burden. You know, they became a social burden, which means government was investing amount again and again, but government was not in a position to get them, rectified. So as a result, government thought of selling all those units to private entrepreneurs. Then industrial efficiency and productivity became low, because in India we observed that our industrial efficiency and productivity became low. Why? Because we were using oldest technologies. हम लोग old technologies use कर लेते. अभी भी देख लो आप, railways PSU है, it is public sector undertaking railway, but still it is sooner it will become a sick unit. Why? Because from many years government is not getting any revenue from the railway. Government is not getting any revenue from the railway. As a result, government is facing the inefficiency in the railway system also, because government is ultimately using the conventional technique or oldest technique in this. And ultimately government, if want to increase the efficiency, then definitely one day government has to sell it to private, because when the private entrepreneur will come, he will invest more money into that investment in the case of bringing out new technology, and then definitely the efficiency may be increased. So this was observed by the government that industrial efficiency and productivity was low. As a result, government thought of doing the privatization. Then the government wanted to raise money for social welfare programs. The government wanted to raise money for social welfare programs, because from the sick units, government was not getting any money in return. As a result, government was having losses a lot. And also government now wanted some more money to raise, because government has already invested its whole money with the uh, sick units. So ultimately government wanted to raise money for the social welfare programs, which government did by privatizing or by selling all its shares of PSU to private. Then corruption became widespread in the public sector. Yes, one of the major reason of privatization. The corruption became widespread in the public sector. So there was a need to do something for the public sector undertakings by privatizing it. People were not able to get good quality goods and services. अच्छे quality products और services भी उनको नहीं मिल पा रहे थे. So government thought of improving the efficiency by the privatization of the industries. See, there are now two methods of privatization. Please, this is very important. There are two methods of privatization. One is known as strategic sale and the other one is known as minority sale. One is known as strategic sale and the other one is known as minority sale. So what is now strategic sale? You know, strategic sale refers to the sale of 51% or more of the shares of public sector undertaking to private sector, which means strategic sale is such a thing where we are selling 51% or more of the shares of PSU to private sector, where we are selling 51% or more of the strategic sales of public sector undertaking to private sector, which means where the majority is being sold out to the private sector. Majority shares are being sold out to the private sector. That is known as strategic sale. Which means here we are passing on the ownership, because majority 51% ऊपर देने का मतलब है we are passing on the majority to the ownership to the private sector. Now, but what is minority sale? Minority sale refers to the sale of less than 49% of the shares of PSU to private sector. Ownership and management will remain with the government only. And where we are not selling the majority shares of PSU, that is the minority sale, which means less than 49%. क्योंकि 51% मेजॉरिटी जिसके पास आ जाएगी वो ओनर बन जाएगा, उसके पास ज्यादा राइट्स होंगे ना डिसीजंस लेने के, because he is having more than 51% share capital, so definitely he would be having more ownership right to vote. In that case he will become the owner. But minority sale of privatization means where you are selling less than 49% of the shares of PSU to private sector. All right, so two types of private sector privatization is there. Now, what are the merits of privatization? Let's see, study the merits. Merits means that what benefits we get after privatization. Definitely, the privatization had resolved the problems of government which we were facing in PSU. For example, we were facing the problem of inefficiency, and productivity was not good ultimately. But after privatization, when private entrepreneurs purchased the public sector undertakings and they invested a lot of money, in that private sector, in that undertaking, and made it efficient, then definitely the productivity of the industrial sector improved. Then the government could get enough money for social welfare programs also. Government also could get enough money for social welfare programs, which means government easily raised the money. Government ने money raise कर ली थी for social welfare programs. Then industrial development became faster. And the private enterprises earn profits and reinvest the profits. Of course, industrial development काफी faster होगी because private people were now using the new technology. So ultimately जो private enterprises बन गए थे अब, they were now earning profit, and of course those private entrepreneurs were reinvesting the profits, and ultimately it increased the employment opportunities also and standard of living also of the people. Consumers were now able to get good quality products and services because efficiency level was increased, so they were now getting the good amount of qualitative products. But there were some demerits also. Now, what were the demerits of privatization? It is against the goal of socialism. When we are going to go for the privatization, it is against the national goal of socialism. It will take our country close to capitalism, don't you think? Because when government is going to sell its shares of public sector undertaking to private, then we are moving towards the capitalism, because the socialism goal would somewhere be hindered and capitalism will be on rise where everything would be private. Private producers का aim क्या होता है? Their aim is of course profit maximization. And when their aim is profit maximization, they do not give much importance to socially desirable goods and services. If suppose railway will get privatized, suppose Indian Railways get privatized, in that case, whatever private individual is going to come up, he will be definitely come up with profit earning objective. Then do you think that the journey which is costing now 1000 rupees per ticket per person would be costing the same amount? It will definitely cost a lot of amount than what is being charged now, right? So ultimately with the privatization or private producers, they maximizes their goal, which is the profit maximization, and they do not give much importance to the socially desirable goods and services. Then workers will be exploited. Workers will definitely get exploited. Why? Because private sector is definitely going to make more on profit maximization. So with less time, the private sector would be demanding or expecting more profit, more efficiency. In that case, definitely private sector is going to exploit the workers. All right. So is it clear? Privatization is clear to all. Privatization is simply when the public sector undertakings shares are being sold out by the government to the private sector, to the private person. That is called as privatization. So it is the disinvestment in the public sector. Now privatization can be done in two ways: strategic sale and minority sale. When we say strategic sale is basically the sale where we are saying that more than 51% of shares are being sold out to the private sector by the government, so that the ownership right are also being has also been transferred to the private persons. But minority sale refers to the sale of 49% of the shares, which means less than 51% majority when the shares have been transferred. That is known as minority sale. So ultimately we can say that it is being done in the two ways. Then why privatization? Because many PSUs became secunets, they became a social burden on the government, as well as the industrial production capacity was very low because they were using the older technologies, and the productivity was also very low. So as government decided to improve or increase the industrial situation in Indian economy, so they thought of improving the technology by privatizing it to the private sector, because government was not having much resources to reinvest the money on these secunets. And also corruption was widespread in the Indian economy. So ultimately we wanted to basically cut off the corruption by privatizing it to the private sector. Then merits of privatization and demerits also we have done. Now let's come to the globalization. Now what is globalization? Globalization is simply treating the whole world as one economy. Globalization is simply treating the whole world as one economy. Treating the whole world as one economy means there should not be any barriers or restrictions imposed on providing goods and services to each other, or on moving of goods and services, and also on the movement of the people. So when we say that the movement of goods and services and also the movement of people now is became very easy, that is ultimately the globalization. So it refers to the integration of our economy with the world economy. हमारी इकोनॉमी को वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी के साथ मिलाना is ultimately the globalization. And it is a service, it is a system in which goods, services, investment and people move freely across the political boundaries. देखो इसी डेफिनेशन के अंदर आपको पूरा उसका डिटेलिंग मिल गया. It is a system in which goods, services, investment and people move freely across the political boundaries, which means the movement of goods is now easy, the movement of services are now easy, the movement of investment means we can invest anywhere in America, in Canada, in any other country. We can invest anywhere in any FDI, any direct investment we can do. Not only the direct investment in goods or in assets, but also we can invest in the services, right, in the shares of the other company. So that is now became possible. And also free movement of people. Anyone can go to any place, anyone can go to any place in any country. That is known as globalization. So globalization में बेटे no doubt आपको 4 points को ध्यान रखना है. Globalization is treating the whole world as one economy. Globalization is treating the whole world as one economy, and you have to just see to the 4 points of globalization: movement of goods, movement of services, free movement of investment and free movement of people. These 4 points you have to see. Movement of goods. Movement of goods means you can just sell or import export your goods, import export your services with the other countries easily. You can just invest in any country, anyone can invest in your country. You can move to any country in search of employment, of job opportunities. Even you can settle in any other country, and also people can come to your country and settle in your country, or they can invest in your country, or they can basically purchase goods and services in your country. That is all termed as globalization. I hope this is clear that what is globalization. Let's move further. Now, measures taken for the globalization of the Indian economy. अब कौन कौन से measures लिए गवर्नमेंट ने इकोनॉमी में ग्लोबलाइजेशन करने के लिए? बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, देखिए. Restrictions on foreign investment have been removed. Now, in many production areas, 100% foreign direct investment is allowed. 100% foreign direct investment is allowed. Yes, Thira, you are absolutely correct. Self-reliance जो है, that is against the globalization, but not fully. Not fully. Because whatever we are producing, we can make much production, and because globalization is there, so we can export our own goods to other countries. Somewhere globalization is against the self-reliance for imports, that we should not go for the imports, we should go less for the imports. Instead, we should make the product ourselves in our own country. But if we talk about the export promotion, then that is possible because of globalization only. We can promote the export, we can sell the goods in the export way to the other country, we can export that. Okay, so what happened in the globalization? Restrictions were removed on the foreign investments. Now even people can invest in 100% of production areas, जो पहले नहीं था. अब पहले क्योंकि 100% कैपिटल नहीं आता था, तो FDI ऑनर्स को लगता था, फॉरेनर्स को लगता था that we can't invest 100% in India in any production area, so we will not be able to get the ownership right, and we will not be able to take much decisions in that, because we will not be having the 100% of the capital invested. But now after globalization, it was possible now to invest 100% in any FDI. Import and export quotas have been removed. देखो ये हमने पढ़ा था ना, quotas fix किए थे, LPQ जिसमें Q था quota. The quotas were fixed. Quota means the restriction on the quantity was there, that you can import only this much or you could export only that much. But now the quotas have been removed. The custom duties have been reduced. Custom duties are the taxes. Custom duties are the taxes which were levied on the production. I mean, which were levied on the import export, but that have been reduced, so that people could easily buy goods and services from the other countries. 1991 से पहले क्या होता था, जैसे 1989 की बात करूं या 90 की बात करूं, there was a complex process for importing or exporting of goods and services. अगर आपको कुछ export या import करना था, a lot of legal formalities you had to do, a lot of legal formalities, and also the custom duty was so much that the product cost was, the custom duty was even 1000% higher than the product cost. इतनी ज़्यादा custom duty होती थी. So people were not in a position to import or export. But now after globalization, that all became less. So custom duties have been reduced, and also the quotas were removed. Now people could easily buy any commodity, import any commodity. अभी तो there is no such restriction. आप कुछ भी मंगवाओ, दुबई की एक पूरी साइट है, उस पर कुछ भी जाओ, आप ऑर्डर करो इंडिया के लिए जो उन्होंने बनाई हुई है, और आप उस पर सीधा जाके anything you can just order, and within 1 week you will be getting at your doorstep. So it is now that much easy, which was not earlier. Third point देखिए, partial convertibility of Indian rupee is permitted. Partial convertibility of Indian rupee is permitted. The rupee has been devalued. That also we have studied. To make more exports so that foreigners should purchase Indian goods, we reduced the value of Indian rupees, because if Indian rupees will become cheaper, then definitely foreigners are going to invest more in India. So for that we did devaluation of Indian rupee, that we have already covered. The country adopted a long-term trade policy. अभी हमने क्या किया, we started doing the long-term trade policies or contracts with the foreign countries. अभी जो हमारे contracts हो रहे थे foreign country के साथ, these contracts were not short term. Even for 100 years, 200 years, or 50 years, we started following the contracts of long-term trade policy. All right, so let's move further. You know, from the globalization only, there is a concept of outsourcing. From the globalization only, the concept of outsourcing is there. And outsourcing, I have already taught you in BST in class 11th. Yes, outsourcing. Outsourcing is getting your work done through outsourced through others, those who are ultimately famous in that, or who are expert, who are having expertise in that work. We are getting our work done through that. And tell me please, India is the favorite destination for outsourcing for which major department? India is the famous destination of outsourcing for which major department? Please tell me. Yes, call centers, service sector, or IT. Very good, everybody. So IT के अंदर we are already famous. That we have already studied in class 11th also, right? So outsourcing के बारे में आप सबको already पता है, but still we'll be doing something like you can see the PPT. India, #1 outsourcing destination in the world, and has been consecutively for the past 15 years. But why India? Because the labor in India is much cheaper as compared to other countries' labor. Also, India is the second largest English speaking population in the world. Also, we have a large manpower. As a result, the work done through Indians is somewhere cheaper as compared to the other countries, right? 50% of Fortune 500 companies outsource their IT department to India alone. बहुत important point है ये. So India is the biggest destination for outsourcing, and all round talent. For example, #1 BPO, that is business process outsourcing, KPO, software engineering, research and development, and product development outsourcing destination in the world is only and only India. So this is the same topic which just I have explained. The definition of outsourcing is being given. So India is a favorite destination. Why? Because wage rates are low in India, so companies can reduce their cost of production. India has a lot of skilled manpower also, and Indians are fluent in English language. That's why it is being said that India is the biggest destination in the world for the outsourcing. You know, outsourcing is good for India. But why outsourcing is good for India? Because we are having a lot of manpower in India and less employment opportunities. So when people outsource their work to India, we get a lot of ample of employment opportunities, which is good for Indians. Same way, it enables India to earn a lot of foreign exchange also, because we'll start getting the foreign exchange also. So it enables us to get a lot of foreign exchange. Same way, it improves the GDP of our country, because ultimately when we'll start getting money, definitely our GDP will also increase. So the benefits of outsourcing are there. But developed countries are opposing the outsourcing. Why they are opposing the outsourcing? Because they feel that if we are giving money to the other countries, then definitely they are ultimately raising less opportunities for their own country people. So it reduces the employment opportunities in their own countries if we are outsourcing our work to others. Same way, it leads to the outflow of foreign exchange. Like if America is giving more money, more opportunities to Indians through outsourcing, then we are getting more dollars from America. It affects their growth rate. The growth rate of India will rise, but the growth rate of America may get hindered if they continuously give, outsource their work to other countries. I hope that is clear now. So we have covered 3 LPG, liberalization.